હેલો એવરીવન, કેમ છો? આશા રાખીએ છીએ કે બધા મજામાં હશો અને આ કોરોના જેવી જે વિપરીત પરિસ્થિતિ છે એમાં પણ દરેક લોકો છે એ એન્જોય કરતા હશો. આજનો જે સેશન છે પંચશીલ સ્કૂલ તરફથી રજૂ કરવામાં આવી રહ્યો છે એના જે આજના ઉદ્ઘોષક છે તે છે મિસ્ટર માઇકલ ફ્લોરેસ. માઇકલ ફ્લોરેસ જો કહીએ તો પંચશીલ પરિવારના દાદા છે. અમે લોકો સૌ એને પ્રેમથી દાદા કહીએ છીએ. બાળકો, તમે પણ કદાચ દાદાને આ વર્ષે મિસ કરતા હશો. બહુ ટૂંકમાં પરિચય આપું તો એમ કહી શકું કે માઇકલ સર છે પંચશીલ પરિવાર સાથે 2015 થી જોડાયેલા છે અને તેઓ માત્ર પરિવારના સભ્ય નહીં પણ પંચશીલ પરિવારના દરેક સભ્ય છે એને ટ્રેનિંગ આપી રહ્યા છે. કોરોના જેવી પરિસ્થિતિમાં જ્યારે તેઓ આજે રૂબરૂ અહીં નથી આવી શક્યા ત્યારે પણ તેઓ ઓનલાઈન સેશન લઈ અને ટીચરને માર્ગદર્શન આપી રહ્યા છે. માઇકલ સર કે જેઓ સડરલેન્ડ સેન્ટ એન્થની ગર્લ્સ એકેડમી છે તેના ગવર્નર રહી ચૂક્યા છે. એક્સપિરિયન્સ છે એમનો એ છેલ્લા 42 વર્ષથી શિક્ષણવિદ તરીકે કામ કરી રહ્યા છે. આજની તારીખે પણ તેઓ શિક્ષણના અનેક પ્રસંગો છે, અનેક અનુભવો છે તે અનેક યુનિવર્સિટીને આપી રહ્યા છે. ઇન્ટરનેશનલ લિંકના મેનેજર છે. તેઓ સેન્ટ એન્થની સ્કૂલમાં વર્ક કરી રહ્યા છે. ચાઇના, સ્વીડન, ઇટલી અને કોરિયાની યુનિવર્સિટીમાં તેઓ આજની તારીખે પણ લેક્ચર્સ લઈ રહ્યા છે. પેરેન્ટિંગ સેશન, ખાસ તો પેરેન્ટિંગ સેશન ઉપર તેમણે ઘણા બધા માર્ગદર્શન આપેલા છે. ખાસ કહીએ તો પંચશીલ સ્કૂલની અંદર તેઓ 2015 થી ટીચર્સને ટ્રેનિંગ આપી રહ્યા છે. ખરેખર જો એમ કહું કે પંચશીલ સ્કૂલ ઇંગ્લિશ મીડિયમનો પાયો ચણનાર અને પંચશીલ સ્કૂલ ઇંગ્લિશ મીડિયમનું સ્વપ્ન દેખાડનાર કોઈ હોય તો એ છે અમારા લાડકા માઇકલ સર, કે ગુજરાતી મીડિયમ સ્કૂલ હોવા છતાં પણ ટીચર્સને તેઓએ સતત પ્રેરણા આપેલી છે. તેઓ જ્યારે પણ અહીં આવ્યા છે ત્યારે તેમને ત્યાંની જે કાંઈ વસ્તુઓ છે, જે કાંઈ મેથડ છે એ બધી અહીંયા આપેલી છે. ટીચર્સ છે એને સતત માર્ગદર્શન આપી રહ્યા છે. તો વધારે સેશન ના લેતા હું માઇકલ સરને વિનંતી કરીશ કે તેઓ આજનું આ જે સેશન છે તે ચાલુ કરે. ઓવર ટુ માઇકલ સર. વેલકમ ટુ પંચશીલ સ્કૂલ સર.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, of course, sir.
Hello. Well, thank you very much, Kamal Ben, for introducing me. I am very glad to have been asked by the school to contribute to this series of lectures. The title for this evening is Local and International. How can a school satisfy the local community, but at the same time maintain an international dimension? In my work in India, in China, in Sweden, I have seen how it can be demanding for a school to do this. And what I would like to offer you today are my thoughts on how Panchshil School is doing it. I will look at what I have seen in the school, in the visits I have made, what I have found out from working very closely with the teachers in all the different standards of the school, and also, of course, my many discussions with DK Sir, the managing trustee, and Jogiraj Jadeja, the principal of the school. I first visited Rajkot in 2010, a long time ago, and I immediately loved the situation there. I was able to visit many schools and begin to understand the issues that Indian schools face in their work. I then visited once more on my own in 2011, this time to form links with my own school, St. Anthony's Girls Catholic Academy. And the first contacts I had were essentially with KVKV School. Gradually, as I moved on, I started working more and more closely with Panchshil School. In 2013, I went for the first time with students. I thought that was a wonderful and very valuable experience. And students from my school have visited Panchshil on 5 or 6 occasions now in the last few years. It is only because of the circumstances of COVID that we have not been able to arrange further visits, and in fact to arrange visits of Panchshil students to St. Anthony's in the UK. My visits to Panchshil have been a mixture of observation and direct work with the teachers of the school. It has been a pleasure for me to be invited to collaborate with my colleagues, to sit in on lessons, to provide feedback and so on. I have spent the last few visits working very, very closely with the English medium section headed by Kamal Ben. I discussed the setting up of the English medium section and provided advice to the school when they were thinking of setting it up. And I have, over the last 2 to 3 years, as I say, worked closely in providing support for the school. Now, the sitting in on lessons and discussion with teachers has allowed me to form a very good opinion of what the school is doing. The first thing I will consider in the lecture is, what does a good school do? So, for example, a school needs to represent clear educational values in its work. It needs to be founded on the clear principles of education. And this is very much the situation that I saw in Panchshil from the very beginning. The happiness of the individual child, the interests of the individual child, are at the heart of what the school does. It is truly a situation where every child matters. The founding principle to learning that I found was that education is a mental process. It is not a mechanical process. And this means that under the excellent educational leadership of Dr. D.K. Vadodaria, the school has very, very clear ideas of the sort of work that it needs to do in the classroom to encourage children to develop and to give the best of their potential. Schools, to be effective, need to be well managed. They have to make best use of teachers, of resources, of the opportunities that they provide for the children. And I find that this is very much the case in Panchshil School. Jogiraj Sir is a very effective manager as the school principal. And he makes a very good team with Dr. Vadodaria in the running of the school. It strikes me that every school needs to be at the service of the community. Panchshil has a definite community from which it draws. The children are from middle or lower middle class backgrounds. They do not come from advantaged families. The parents make the real choice of sending them to that school. And that service to the community is vital for any school in any part of the world. And I find that this is something that Panchshil does extremely well. However, at the same time, schools need to go a little bit beyond that. They also need to try and incorporate in their curriculum an element of an international dimension. They need to be able to reach out to other parts of the world. And in the offer that they make to the children, in the curriculum experience of the children, managing the local aspects, the national aspects, making the children proud citizens of India in the image that the school has, is very, very important. But at the same time, we live in a global community, and the development of the global citizen is also an important part of the work of the school. Panchshil School, in terms of the local touch, is an excellent example of a school that celebrates and affirms the values of the community and the values of Indian culture and history. I have been amazed in all my visits, the celebration of every single festival in the work that the children do. The work in the classrooms is shared in corridors, in hallways. There are exhibitions of students' work, whatever the festival, Navratri, Diwali, whatever the festival, there are all sorts of illustrations and children's work. It is this posters, projects, written accounts, drawings, artwork of all sorts. These are all evident that affirm and celebrate the uniqueness of Indian culture and Indian history. The school has a huge commitment to celebrate the life and contribution of Gandhiji, the father of the Indian nation. They celebrate and remember key moments of his life. I have been at assemblies where they celebrate Gandhiji's birthday, or they remember the day of his death. And this is very important for the children to have a keen awareness of their own history. They had a major, absolutely major exhibition of their work in celebrating Gandhi's life. This exhibition that they did over 3 days had record numbers of people attending. I think it was a world record for attending a celebration of this sort. They also won a world record for the largest Gandhi cap ever produced, and I think this is still the record. And they also had various international recognition in many publications for the wonderful work they did in that display. I was personally involved some years ago in the celebration of the life, the work, the ideas of Swami Vivekananda. I found it of great interest to learn and read. I visited the Ramakrishna temple. I spoke to some of the Swami there. I read books that I purchased in their library, and it's a wonderful learning opportunity for me. But I spent a lot of time also looking at what the teachers and children were doing, and the commitment that they showed towards affirming the work of this wonderful man was, for me, eye-opening, and I learned a lot from how they did it. We tend in Britain to set up lots of displays and people go around and look at photographs, but each room in the school was turned into a living tableau of the life of Swami Vivekananda, of the key moments of his life. And I was very flattered, I was asked to concentrate on the room dedicated to the memory of Sister Nivedita. And for me, as I say, it was lovely. Now, you might say to yourselves, well, okay, that's great, but many Indian schools also look at their history and also present displays and exhibitions and so on. What is different about Panchshil School? Well, one key difference is how well they do it. But again, other schools could do it just as well. But for me, the key difference, what gives Panchshil a unique identity in my eyes, is that they add to this commitment to Indian life and culture a commitment to opening up the eyes of the student towards a dimension that reaches out to other parts of the world. And I think this is that extra dimension. This is very important at any time. In the modern world, for me, it is vital. A celebrated English philosopher, John Donne, said, "No man is an island entire of itself. We are all linked to each other. We are all linked to what happens in the world." With today's explosion of social media, of internet communication, of all sorts of electronic, this lecture today is a living illustration of how small the world is. I am sitting in County Durham in the northeast of England on a very, very sunny Saturday afternoon. And there are people listening to this lecture from, I would imagine, many, many parts of India, and possibly in YouTube, they will connect from different parts of the world. So the commitment to international links is seen in many, many ways. And I would offer Panchshil as an example for other schools on how they can develop this global vision and practice. So, for example, Panchshil School has worked with the British Council very, very closely over the last 5 or 6 years. And it has received the very, very special International School Award. Now, I wrote the bid for the International School Award for my school, and I know how difficult it is, how much evidence you have to gather, how much time and commitment you have to give to present
સોરી ટુ ઇન્ટરપ્ટ પણ થોડી ટેકનિકલ ખામીને કારણે થોડો ઇશ્યુ આવ્યો હતો થોડી જ વારમાં માઇકલ સરનું સેશન છે એ કન્ટિન્યુ થશે ત્યાં સુધી સરે જે વાત કહેલી છે એ હું એકવાર રિપીટ કરી દઉં છું માઇકલ સરે તેમના અનુભવો છે એ પહેલેથી વર્ણવ્યા હતા પંચશીલ સ્કૂલ છે હેલો યસ માઇકલ સર
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you see me?
No.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah. Hold on. You can see me now.
Yeah.
And you can hear me now. Okay, can I continue with the lecture?
Yeah, sir.
Well, there I was saying how we are a connected world and how wonderful this is, and the connection crashes. So let's pick it up from where we were. I was talking about the International School Award and how difficult it is to maintain. Well, Panchshil School has not only gained the International School Award of the British Council once, it actually gained it twice, and it is the only school in Gujarat that has achieved this, and one of very few schools in India that have done it. So that demonstrates their clear commitment to international work. Now, being an international school recognized by the British Council allows the Panchshil to work with a group of similarly committed schools across India, linked by the British Council. It opens up opportunities for schools to make links with schools in the UK, and normally it is one school that you link with, and the project that normally accompanies international schools is a project called Connecting Classrooms. The other key part of the international schools element is the educational exchanges and visits. Now, there are many benefits of Connecting Classrooms. Panchshil works with a number of schools, 6 schools in the UK, not only one, which is normal, but they have formed links with 6 schools, both secondary, primary, and even nursery sections. They have been able to arrange visits of all these schools to Panchshil. Their teachers have met UK teachers. Some of the schools have visited with students as well. And this has been a wonderful opportunity for them. The teacher and pupil exchanges have been extremely positive influence for the school. And I will explain why. I think it is important for me to recognize the excellent work of Mrs. Veena Soni, who is a lady of Indian origin, established in the UK. She holds the prestigious award of Deputy Lord Lieutenant. In effect, she represents the Queen in this part of the world. And she has been wonderful in arranging her contacts and providing links to schools in the northeast of England to work with Panchshil. The fact that the schools are so varied, from comprehensive schools, sixth form college, different age and different primary schools means that every standard in Panchshil School has a link and is able to relate to schools in the UK. What does this involvement with between Indian and UK teachers achieve? I think it's very important that teachers develop, grow over the different stages of their career. One way in which they can do this is to work with colleagues from different schools, but also, even richer, work with colleagues from different countries. I set up programs in my school that allowed me and my teachers to work with teachers from Lithuania, from Sweden, from Spain, from France, from Korea. That's South Korea, by the way. And this is a most enriching experience for all of us, for all concerned. I know how enriched I have felt in my visits to Panchshil and to Rajkot in generally and into other schools there. They learn about each other's methods. They look at the way in which Indian teachers look at the way in which UK teachers work. And I think it has been evident that this has happened because I have seen myself small changes and incorporation of new ideas into the work Panchshil does. So, for example, we have taken in, Panchshil has taken in ideas of education in the UK. So in the UK, in the primary sector, there is a great deal of involvement of students in lessons. There is a great deal of group work as well. The seating arrangements are very, very flexible. And I have seen all of these things being developed in the English medium classes, where the students do work with each other and the students do work in tables that can be arranged in different ways. So these are examples of ideas that are seen and spoken about, applied then to the way that you work. One of the things I have spoken to teachers in Panchshil about is a key feature of English lessons, setting up key learning objectives, not defining a lesson by the activities you're going to do, but rather planning a lesson on the basis of the learning you want the children to achieve in that lesson. The activities then are all geared and focused on meeting these learning objectives. The use of games to support learning, learning through play. I have seen wonderful examples of the children counting with big numbers, of the children jumping onto numbers on the floor from the instructions of the teacher. All of this learning through play, which is so much a feature of English primary schools. I think the visits made to the UK by Dr. Vadadaria, by Mr. Jadeja, twice, have been very, very fruitful in opening their eyes to the sort of things that Panchshil can do very, very well. Now, one of the absolutely key things that we have seen in Panchshil in the last few years is the development of English medium teaching. It has been absolutely vital in the development of the school. Like all good ideas, hello? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yeah, there we are. Sorry about that. My computer is acting up a bit today. As I was saying, the importance of the new development in Panchshil School for me has been the start and development of English medium teaching. Now, this was not something that was entered into just like that. I remember having discussions before it started with Dr. Vadadaria and Mr. Jadeja, and actually, suggesting ideas on how it could be done. Like the importance of English cannot be stressed enough. English language is part of the history of India. Many Indians speak English at different levels of expertise. So it is part of the Indian history and culture. English is very often tied to high level of education, so it is a very desirable skill to have. Also, English is the second language of international relations. Um, It allows individuals to communicate across the world, even in countries where English is not the first language. So I spoke to you about working with teachers from different schools. When I have worked with Lithuanian teachers or with Korean teachers, I don't speak their language, but they speak English, and so do I. It is the common bond between us. When I go to Sweden and lecture in Swedish universities, I do it in English. When I go to China and lecture in Chinese universities and work in Chinese schools, it is done through English. It is the language of the world, very much, not just the language of English-speaking nations, the language of the world. And it is a huge advantage for anybody, however young, to develop a good knowledge and confidence in the use of English. And this is what English medium education is about. It is giving children that extra bounce, as it were, that extra confidence, that extra knowledge in the way that they develop English language skills. English is the language of commerce, very much so. And India is a huge trading nation. So big corporations in India will always require and will always need people who can speak English confidently and fluently. So for me, the advantages of setting up an English medium section are many and various. And I think it is important to allow young people to grow and develop their skills in.
મૌલિક મારો અવાજ આવે છે?
Now, clearly, the school has very wisely chosen to give parents the choice. Some parents may not wish to have their children in an English medium class. They get an excellent education in the Gujarati medium class. But by providing the opportunity, the school is providing the community it serves with that extra opportunity to develop different ranges of skills. I would stress that the way in which English medium was introduced in the school was very well thought through. It was not just something thrown in, it was carefully planned. Careful selection of staff, careful selection of coordinator. I mean, Kamal Ben is doing an excellent job in the way she manages the English medium teaching, the enthusiasm, the knowledge, the way she works with teachers is very, very laudable. I have worked with the English-speaking section a great deal, doing lectures for them, doing reviews, looking in at lessons, and then after a few weeks, going back to them and saying, well, this is what I saw, this is what you're doing well, this is what you can improve, and I suggest to them how they can do it. I have been struck at all times, both by the commitment of the school management to set up and develop the English medium class, but also by the enthusiasm of the teachers, by their willingness to learn and their willingness to grow and develop and to look at different ways of doing things. And this is vital, absolutely vital. An English medium education has to be different to a Gujarati medium of education. And I think the school is going about it in the right way. They started very small, the one class, and gradually they have built up the English medium section so that now there are, in different standards lower down the school, there are English medium classes. And as I understand it from my conversations with the school, the whole idea is to develop this all the way up the school so that the English medium children will be able to grow and develop these extra skills as they grow older in the school setting. I think this is very well planned. It is well resourced. I have seen the resources that teachers have, the commitment the school makes, the amount of money it dedicates to this section. These are important considerations. You cannot run an important thing like this on a shoestring, on a very small budget. The school is very, very committed to English medium education. And this is another excellent example of Panchshil's commitment to a global curriculum. It is very easy to say, oh, we offer a global curriculum, and find that what they're doing is sticking up posters about travel to India, travel to Australia, and so on. That is not international education. International education has to be definite, clear steps that make it obvious that the school is committed to opening up the eyes of the children to the world that exists outside of their local environment. And for me, the success of a school like Panchshil is that it is able to balance the commitment it shows to the local education, the education of good Indian citizens for the future, good Gujarati citizens for the future, while at the same time offering its students the opportunity to realize that there is a world out there and give them the chance to have contacts with foreign people, in this case, the UK, and so on. It is a pity that with COVID, we have not been able to, I have not been able to visit Panchshil this year. And indeed, I hope to do this sometime next year. But even while I have been here, I have been working with some of the other organizations that I work with. And I have exciting projects to present to Panchshil School regarding possibilities with Swedish institutions and even with a major innovation that is going to be taking place in China, led by the company that I work with when I'm there. So these are all the sorts of things that can be done once the school takes that step in recognizing the international dimension to its work. Now, what about the future? Well, English medium teaching, as I said, will grow and will develop in the future. It will be a key element, a key pillar in the work of the school. Sometimes schools want to do initiatives and they cannot do everything for everyone. Schools have to provide a basic general education that is of a good standard for all its students. What Panchshil does, together with many of the successful schools I have visited in many countries, is that it also offers different strands in its curriculum to allow groups of children to develop in slightly different ways. I think this strengthens the school, and I would encourage the school leadership to continue with it. There has been, as I said, year-on-year growth, and more standards will have an English medium class in the future. What will this achieve? I think teachers will grow in expertise. As they continue to work with an English medium, they will develop their skills in working through English. They will have a greater awareness of what works most effectively in an English-speaking classroom. I found in my work with these teachers that they were very keen to learn, and they were also very keen to work with each other. And this is one of the greatest learning tools that a school has, encouraging teachers to work with each other, to learn from each other. In this country, we are working to make teachers what we call reflective practitioners. That is, people who always think, what can I do better? How can I improve the service that I provide for the children? How can the school get better? How can the school, and so on. We feel that the role of a teacher who knows everything and does the same thing year in, year out, that is out. That is no longer an understanding of what good teachers do. Good teachers think. They think about what they're doing and how they're doing it. And they have an openness of mind, and they have this determination to improve that makes them better the service that they provide their children. Because we have to remember, schools provide a service to the community that they are in. And this is something which is very, very important. As I say, I hope in future visits to spend more time working with the English medium, to offer what ideas I can, to have conversations with different levels of teachers, from the teachers working in the classroom, through middle managers like Kamal Man, through to senior leadership and so on, and to offer them ideas and principles. During my last visit in February last year, 2020, I already started doing this, and we agreed that in future visits, I would focus a little bit more on the international section, the international medium classes. And this is good because by now the teachers have had some experience. They know and feel more confident about the work that they do. That is when you can start to offer them new ideas, slight changes to the way they work that will improve the nature of the teaching and learning. Now, I have mentioned the children, I have mentioned the benefits for them, I have mentioned the teachers, but one key part is missing, and that is the parents. Education is a partnership. It is a partnership between the children, parents, and the teachers, the school. This is, some people call it a triangle, other people call it a circle, but it is very much a partnership. So one key question that one can ask oneself is this: what can parents do? to support their children in an English medium learning environment? Well, first of all, the parents have made the choice. The children are in an English medium environment because they have chosen to put them there. They feel there are all advantages for their children in being in that sort of different learning environment. So once they're there, what can parents do? Well, I think one of the key things is to take an interest in what children do in English medium classes. Ask them, what new words have you learned today? What can you tell me about the work you've done? Speak to them as far as possible in English. If your own English is limited, work at the limits of what you can do with your child. Good morning, how are you? Would you like to eat? Things like that, basic, simple sentences that allow the child to see that even in their home environment, they can also use and speak English with the parents. So that is one small thing you can do. Bringing English into the home, bringing what the children are learning in school into the home. That stresses for the children the support of the parents. Stress, be very positive. Reward is far more effective than a negative reaction. If your child is told, that was so good, well done for saying that. What do you call this in English? This, oh, that is so good. What you don't do is correct every single mistake the child makes. No, this is not that, this is that. The child then becomes discouraged. So let me give you an example. If the child picks up a cup and says, cup, and then picks up a saucer and says, plate, cup, and you say, no, that's a saucer, yeah? If you say, hold on, that's a plate, but when the plate is part of a pair with the cup, you call it the saucer. So in other words, you are positive in the encouragement that you make. When children make small errors of pronunciation and so on, you guide them to the correct part, not jump on them by saying they are making mistakes. I would suggest that buying children books which have English in them would be a very, very useful advantage. I spend 4 days a week with my wife looking after my grandson, who is 2. And one of the things my daughter and ourselves have done is to make sure that he has a lot of books around him. And these books are very simple. They are pictures with English words. So, for example, pictures of fruits with the English word underneath, pictures of modes of transport, train, helicopter, car, bus, yeah, things like that. If you can buy these simple, colorful books that the children can look at home, you are helping to reinforce the teaching that is taking place in the classroom. And lastly, but very generally, it is support the school and the work of the school as much as you can. Progress will be slow. In an English medium classroom, the progress will be slow because the children have got to learn and accept that English is used a lot in the classroom. So they may not make, at the initial stages, the big leaps that you expect to see in classrooms in a Gujarati medium, for example. So be patient with the child. That is very, very important. I have seen the teachers at work, and what has struck me is how patient they are with these very, very young 4- and 5-year-old children who are trying very hard to understand and use a language which is not yet something they're confident in using. So the title was Local and Global. I have tried to represent in my lecture the importance for a school of doing both, of having a curriculum that is grounded in the needs of the society that they serve, the community, the city, the region, the country. It is very important to develop the knowledge and skills that allow the children to grow and develop and be confident citizens of their immediate environment and wider national environment. So producing Indian citizens who understand their role in the society of Gujarat, in the society of India, is an important, crucial part of any Indian school. However, going beyond that is an important step for any school to take. I have been impressed, and I have repeated this whenever I speak of Panchshil. I have been impressed by the way Panchshil balances both and does both, so that it is meeting the local needs, but also developing a global perspective in the students that it has. So thank you very much for listening to me. And once again, thank you very much to Kamal Ben for her kind introduction and to the school for inviting me to deliver this lecture.
Namaste parents and very good evening to all of you. On behalf of Panchshil School, I would like to heartily thank Mr. Michael Flores, our beloved Dada. Sir, due to COVID this year we missed you a lot, but we hope everything will be fine soon, and next year onwards you will be the part of the family as usual. On behalf of Dr. D.K. Vadodariya sir, Managing Trustee of Panchshil School, I would like to thank you once again. From all the way to UK, you join us and you give us such a wonderful guidance on the local touch global vision. Sir, as you started that from the beginning of the era, local touch global vision, you mentioned the activities conducted by the school like Gandhi exhibition, like exhibition of the Swami Vivekananda life, and you were the part of that exhibition in 2019 that I remember. It is the lifelong memory for the Panchshil family. I would like to thank English medium department, Komal Ben, and all her team members to put her all the efforts to bring Michael sir for the children and for the parents to arrange this session. આ તકે વાલીશ્રીઓને શાળા વતી હું એક કમિટમેન્ટ આપું છું કે માઇકલ સર છે, he is a chief mentor of the Panchshil School in English medium section. He will guide us. Though due to COVID issues, sir will not be the part of the school physically, but through the online and through this kind of seminars, he will be in touch of us. So, and as sir mentioned, that local touch global vision, વાલીશ્રીઓ પંચશીલ સ્કૂલની શરૂઆત કરી ત્યારે ડોક્ટર વાડોદરિયા સરનું એક નેમ હતી કે મહામાનવનું નિર્માણ, બાળકને વૈશ્વિક નાગરિક બનાવવું, જેના ભાગ સ્વરૂપે પંચશીલ સ્કૂલ દ્વારા ઘણા બધા કાર્યક્રમો થયા. 2012-13 થી શાળા ઇન્ટરનેશનલ સ્કૂલ એક્રેડિટેશન માટે રજીસ્ટર થઈ અને 2013 અને 2016 માં બે વખત બેક ટુ બેક ઇન્ટરનેશનલ સ્કૂલ એવોર્ડ મળ્યો, જે તમામ વાલીશ્રી અને વિદ્યાર્થીઓનો જ સહયોગ છે. આ બધી પ્રવૃત્તિ શાળા સારી રીતે કરી શકે છે કારણ કે વાલી અને વિદ્યાર્થી અને સમાજે શાળાને ખૂબ જ સહયોગ આપ્યો છે. માઇકલ સરે તેમની વાતમાં યુકેના કલ્ચરની પણ વાત કરી અને શા માટે બાળકને વૈશ્વિક બાળક બનાવો, કારણ કે આવનારો સમય છે એ ગ્લોબલ સિટીઝનશીપનો છે, ઘણા બધા પડકારોનો સમય છે. તો પંચશીલ સ્કૂલની નેમ છે કે તમામ પડકારોની વચ્ચે શાળા ઇંગ્લિશ મીડિયમમાં પણ સારું એવું વર્ક કરશે અને બહારના જે કાંઈ ફેકલ્ટીઝ છે, જે અમારા ટાઈપ્સ છે, આપણી પંચશીલ સ્કૂલનું જે છે એ 5 સ્કૂલ સાથે યુકેમાં ટાઈપ છે. માઇકલ સર છે સેન્ટ એન્થનીસના ગવર્નર છે, ક્વીન એલેક્સ સાથે પણ આપણે ટાઈપ છે, પ્રાઇમરી સેક્શનનું છે એનું મોન્ક હાઉસ સાથે ટાઈપ છે, બ્રાઇટન એવન્યુ, અને પ્રી પ્રાઇમરી સેક્શનનું હિલવ્યુ ઇન્ફન્ટ સ્કૂલ સાથે ટાઈપ છે. આ બધી શાળા સાથે આપણે કલ્ચરલ એક્સચેન્જ પ્રોગ્રામ કરશું. અને મને અહીંથી જણાવતા આનંદ થાય છે કે ગયા વીક જૂનમાં તે કોમલબેન અને એમની ટીમે નોર્થ ઇંગ્લેન્ડના ડરામ વિસ્તારની સેન્ટ પોલ સ્કૂલ સાથે પણ ટાઈપ કરેલ છે. તો આ તકે કોમલબેન વાડોદરિયા સરને બધાને અભિનંદન પાઠવું છું. Once again, Michael, I heartily thank you for your kind words, and I assure that your blessings will with us and for children of Panchshil forever. માઇકલ સર અને યુકેની ટીમના આશીર્વાદ અને માર્ગદર્શન આપણી શાળા વચ્ચે સતત આપણી વચ્ચે ઉપસ્થિત રહેશે તેની અમને ખાતરી છે. ફરીથી માઇકલ સરનો આભાર વ્યક્ત કરું છું, વાડોદરિયા સરનો આભાર વ્યક્ત કરું છું, કોમલબેન અને તેમની ટીમને, સમગ્ર બધા એચઓડીને, મયુર સર, ભાવનાબેન અને તમામ હેડ ઓફ ધ ડિપાર્ટમેન્ટને આ તકે અભિનંદન પાઠવું છું કે પંચશીલ ટીમે ખૂબ જ સારું આયોજન કર્યું અને માઇકલ સરને આજે આપણે એની વચ્ચે ઇન્વાઇટ કર્યા. આ તકે કેતન સર અને એમની ટીમનો પણ આભાર વ્યક્ત કરું છું. On behalf of Michael sir, Panchshil School, I would like to heartily thank you. Good night. Thank you very much to all parents, and thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Namaste.
Good night, everybody. We feel that the role of a teacher